On January 27th, 2019, I decided I want to quit living for whatever other people I was living for, whatever system I was living for, and whatever. I just wanted to start pursuing my own ideas. I had a lot of feeling that I wasn't pursuing what I wanted to be pursuing, so I made some adjustments and tried some new things I've never tried before. One of the things I tried at the age of 16 was starting my very first business. Now, this business was a clothing brand. I had to try something. I saw some other brands that I liked. I saw some clothes that I liked, and I was fairly into clothes. So I'm like, why the heck not? If you take a look around my profiles, you could see that I don't sell shirts actively anymore, but I learned a crap ton from that first venture. So I wanted to break down 5 things that I specifically learned from my very first business. If you don't know me, I'm Jarnagin, entrepreneur, content creator, and podcaster located in Ames, Iowa. I post insightful weekly YouTube videos, weekly podcasts with other entrepreneurs and creators, and daily reels on all shorts platforms. I would love to connect with you. BS aside though, let's talk about my 5 points that I learned. First thing I learned was industry. Obviously, specifically the clothing brand sort of industry, but also starting any business is gonna get you in the workflow of regular business things. You're gonna learn to do the basics like filing an LLC, opening a business bank account, doing all your extra sales tax stuff if need be, buying domain names, conceptualizing a name, getting a logo, all those sort of things. Pretty consistent with every single business. And to get all that out right when I was that young was amazing. And then obviously clothing brand specifics. In order to grow a clothing brand, you need to look at other clothing brands. So I had 10 links that I had on a document of my 10 favorite brands, and I'd always click into them, look around, see what they're up to, and just learn a ton. I'd learn how they're getting their clothes. Are they sourcing them custom? Are they sourcing the blanks themselves? Are they crafting, you know, whatever sort of shirt blend that they want, and they have access to do that? Are they printing off Gildan shirts and cutting off the tag? I mean, you can tell. You're gonna look at kind of what e-commerce platform they use. So a lot of them use Shopify. Shopify is a very known platform, and I was able to dive into it and learn quite a bit about it. I was able to see how they promoted their clothes. So they used every single social media. So I made a social media account for every single social platform. I learned what they put on those social platforms and the creativity behind it. So I learned photography, videography. I was able to buy my first camera during this clothing brand sort of Isaac Jarnagin era here. I was able to learn the in and the outs of the industry, and that stuff never goes away. I'm able to look at a clothing brand, probably reverse source where they're getting their stuff from, or if they're doing it custom themselves. I mean, it's a good process to know how to do. And then obviously all the general business things I still do to this day. Bookkeeping, business bank account, messing with CPAs, messing with lawyers. I mean, that all stays around. Number 2, I learned the importance of spending money. About everyone nowadays knows, whether they've done it or not, they know that in order to make money, you're most likely gonna be spending money. Whether that's on software you need to do a service or inventory you need to start selling a product, you're either gonna be spending money at the beginning or your profits are probably gonna be limited if you're not doing any sort of overhead purchase. So I was able to learn early, like how to stay frugal personally, you know, limiting the amount of restaurants I go out to, the amount of snacks I'm buying, the amount of junk I'm getting on the internet, limiting that, but also being okay with spending business money. Business money is another realm, you know. If I need to get a Shopify subscription for $30 a month, that's okay, because in order to sell online, you need subscriptions like that, unless you want to go out of your way and make it yourself, which you're not going to do. Being able to know the difference about necessary spending money and unnecessarily spending money has been a huge thing and has made me more of a stickler on finances, but overall it's probably smart in the long run. Number 3, passion and obsession is a harder one to explain. I kind of stumble on this one, but I did a lot of fun things, but just had absolutely no purpose behind them besides myself. You know, a lot of it was gaming. I loved gaming, gamed with my friends, had a blast, whatever, but once you're done with gaming, there's nothing beyond that, unless you look for avenues on how to make something beyond that, which I never did with gaming. Now, when I tried this first business venture, I'm like, oh my gosh, this impacts me, other people, and it's a business, so it can make you money if you try hard enough at it. It felt like it had more of an impact, and the just being passionate towards something that could actually positively impact me was just the coolest thing ever. I spent all my effort always just trying to make my product better, you know, promoting it better, blah, 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 blah. Now, no matter how crappy it was, I was still putting a lot of time to learning how to make it look better and better. A lot of people run around today not having passion towards anything that they do, you know. Say, what are you passionate about? And they'll say, I honestly don't know. And I'm like, what? Like, I haven't operated like that for years. Like, that absolutely blows my mind. Being able to feel passionate towards something at that young of age and kind of have that align myself of like, I'm always gonna do this no matter what. No questions asked. I'm never gonna accept that for none of the less. I'm bad with words. So to this day, I'm still making sure that what I'm doing is aligned with my passion, blah, 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 blah. Usually means I'm also obsessed toward it, which obsession, good and bad thing, but you know, you be your own judge there. Number 4, adaptability. There's going to be situations you run into and you know what the correct answer is, and you just gotta execute on that. And that might be always the most fun thing to execute on, but it's the right thing. You gotta execute over and over and over and over and over again, really, really fast. And you know, when you start making those decisions at first, sometimes they impact people around you. Sometimes people around you have bad things to say about that, and they say it to you, Isaac, that was stupid. And you gotta hear that, and you're like crying, but just kidding. But then after like 20 decisions, they kind of start muting out a little bit. You find your people that you're gonna listen to, and the rest just kind of mutes. Quick decision making kind of evolves with adaptability. Also, just making hard decisions, and you can either quit or you can adapt. Like there's no 2 other options, and I have a story for that. My first business was called, the first name of it was Mundane Clothing. It was mundane, written in my handwriting, actually my cousin's handwriting. And then there was a line through it, meaning mundane means boring and ordinary, and you know, we want your life to be more than that. So exit out and do dope stuff. That was my brand. I explained it a lot better when I was younger, but whatever. Anyways, I did my best. I got my LLC in the state of Iowa, Mundane Clothing, blah, 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 bought my domain, mundaneclothing.com. Took all the steps that I believed I could take for that. After taking some time for my business, you know, dropped a few pieces of clothes, you know, feeling good, feeling great. Some people from Nashville came to me with a very similar business name. They ran some clothing, and then they ran a magazine. They said, hey, your name is way too close to our name. You need to change it. And I'm like, what? Really? Like, are you sure? No, I don't want to. But obviously, you don't not want to do stuff like that. That stuff just has to happen. So literally right there, could have shut down. I could have been like, well, there goes my name. I give up. There goes my brand. There goes everything I was riding on. I'm done. I quit. Or you could adapt. And resilient me, pat on the back for 18-year-old Isaac, he decided to go through and make a whole nother brand concept and get a new name, get a new website domain, and run under a new brand and not let this thing affect him. Now, the coolest thing about this whole interaction between me and the Nashville business was they're like, hey, Isaac, you own mundaneclothing.com. A lot of our customers navigate to mundaneclothing.com. Makes it very confusing for our customers. You own that, we get that. Can we buy that from you? How about a couple grand? And I'm like, what? A couple grand? The only money I've ever made is like, you know, a couple dollars off of a shirt or, you know, working for $7 an hour at the local grocery store. So having someone come up to me and saying, you have something, it's yours, and I want to buy it for a couple grand, that absolutely blew my freaking mind. So I was able to sell mundaneclothing.com to these guys for a couple grand, have a new name, feel good about my brand that I liked more, and then push forward, which is funny because that brand name was Forward Motive. It's finding your motive, your reason in life, the thing that excites you in life, the thing that makes you get up in the morning, and pushing forward as frick toward that thing, pushing forward as hard as you can toward that thing. That was the message. And I believe just by choosing to adapt to that moment, I really uplifted my brand and that message. Really cool story. I mean, that was probably one of the coolest things that happened with the clothing brand for sure. Number 5 is I learned more about me. The first 16 years of my life, I was just kind of going with the flow, you know, had a little bit of personality, but I just wasn't feeling the culture I was a part of. I mean, it's a beautiful culture, that small town culture. Everyone does the same thing, work hard at it, work hard in your life, but there were just some areas that we didn't target, that you kind of have to go with and do on your own. So I could have chosen to never do those things and stay with the groove, but I couldn't do that. So I decided to release my foot off the gas on things like extracurriculars a little bit, as well as, you know, school in a little bit. Not crazy, like I still did all right in school, but I took time to start a business. And I learned that that is how I want to conduct myself in life. I have a hard time being an employee. That sounds really cliche and stupid and whatever, but it's just genuinely true. And I love having a service to provide for people. I love communicating with people about that service, and I love making that experience fun and easy and helpful for them. And that's just how I'm gonna operate, client to client. If I would have never taken that step, I would have never learned that. Who knows what the heck I'd be? Probably more of a bum than I already am. Now, you might have noticed in the title, I have failed in quotations. I'm kind of mocking it, I really am. I think a lot of people are catching on nowadays that failure isn't really failure that we give it the meaning of. Instead of it being failure, it's more something is stagnant or something is low-key an L, and you see that, and then you see where's the lesson. And then from that lesson, you move on to the next thing. That's what failing is. It could just be me coping, but I think a lot of people are jumping on that train and not as embarrassed to fail, which is great to see. We'll be a better world that way if we keep that up. I just genuinely noticed, you know, hey, this isn't the most successful endeavor I've ever done in my life, this clothing thing. But hey, I bought this camera for this business, and I've been providing friends and families with senior photo services as well as family photo services, as well as just taking fun sports photos and taking fun creative photos, and I'm loving it. People are seeing a value from a skill I had, which was photography, and they came to me for it. And I'm like, heck, I'll give you that. Let's do it. Ever since starting to do it that, I've been running with it ever since. Nowadays, I partner with businesses across the US and help run their digital side of their business, like their socials or their digital assets, if you will. And that's where I'm at today. So I saw my brand. I said, I don't enjoy this as much. If I don't enjoy it, it's also not doing too hot. Not, you know what I mean? It's not doing crazy. It's kind of what I mean. So this would be a good chance to pivot, and that's exactly what I did. Now, I love making custom clothes. So if I ever have enough resources from this business that's a little more thriving nowadays, praise up. That's dope. I'm glad. I'm happy for that. Maybe I can pivot back to the clothing brand field, and I know how that all runs, so I'd be excited to run back. That's the dope thing. You always learn and you always remember those things. Maybe you're a little rusty, but you still know them. Yeah, that's 5 things I learned from my first failed business. Like I said, I post weekly YouTube videos. I also post weekly podcasts over on the Jarnagin podcast, where I talk to fellow entrepreneurs and creatives that have either done something really dope, are currently doing something really dope, or are trying to do something really dope. I think there's a lot of perspective to be had there. It's really cool being able to talk to individuals and hear about their story, and I think it's very inspiring for every party. So definitely give that a check out. And I also post shorts on every freaking short platform 5 days a week, and I also have a weekly newsletter. All those links will be in the description below. Would love to interact with you. That's why I post all this crap, is to find fun people like potentially you. If you're fun, if you're lame, do something that's fun. Why not? But anyways, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch. Videos like this are more personal to me. It's fun to reflect on this stuff. So it's cool that someone else also shares that reflection with me, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, have a good one. Peace, love, and tranquility.